Part 162. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1611. In the process of coming, I glanced at the past. Basically there were not many wounded soldiers, which was obviously very different from the previous expectation. Fang Fan narrowed his eyes secretly, and the corners of his mouth began to rise involuntarily. If that's the case, then this matter is even more interesting. Maybe, is there something tricky here? The 308th Bronze Legion did not have any problems from the beginning to the end. As for the so-called war, it may not be impossible. Fang Fan thought, his eyes became sharper and sharper. On the wine table, there was a constant exchange of toasts and cups. Fang Fan's bronze inspector is indeed a young hero. He is worthy of a heavy responsibility at a young age. It seems that he has a deep foundation in the temple. By the way, does Fang Fan's bronze inspector have any elders in the temple? I'll pay a visit if I have the chance. Wenquan, the head of the 308 Bronze Legion, said with a blunt smile, with a listless expression on his face, and the corners of his mouth raised unnaturally as he spoke. This is a cliché. In fact, to put it bluntly, I just want to know if Fang Fan has any big backing behind him. This conventional method is still obvious at a glance. Fang Fan understood that this was already a test. Before coming, Dongguo Sage personally entrusted me to cooperate sincerely with all of you. Fang Fan calmly took a sip of his wine, and then said something lightly. There was a look of horror on everyone's face. This is simply not too rampant. Saint Dongguo? A boss of this level has something to do with Fang Fan? The expressions of all the people at the banquet suddenly changed, and they fell into deep thought. Immediately, they talked with each other's ears, and their expressions were particularly dignified. Although they are all whispering, if you want to hear clearly, there is no problem at all, and it is clear and clear from beginning to end. He, I didn't expect Fang Fan's bronze inspector to be so favored by Lord Dongguo Saint. Let us wish the Lord Saint a long life and good health from afar. Hot Spring, head of the 308 Bronze Legion, rolled his eyes, but he didn't know what he was thinking. Chatting and yelling at each other, a scheming banquet gradually came to an end. After walking out of the military tent, Fang Fan led the people under his command to act alone. As for the people of the 308 Bronze Legion, they moved towards one direction intentionally or unintentionally. My lord, they went to have a private discussion. All the commanders of the 308th Bronze Legion, Black Iron Legion, and above have gone, but you were not called. Hao Yun secretly walked up to Fang Fan's side and reported the relevant information. Fang Fan nodded secretly, and then said indifferently, let them plan. As long as my affairs are delayed, I don't bother to deal with it, but if it really involves fundamental interests, then this matter is not so easy to solve already. Fang Fan snorted coldly, his eyes flickering brightly. For the entire 308 Bronze Legion, he is an outsider, there is no doubt about this. They want to exclude or even suppress, which is also a routine method. As for Fang Fan himself, he devoted himself wholeheartedly to the surrounding battle situation. As night falls, everything returns to silence. 308 Bronze Legion, in the Central Military Account. Master Legion, we can't just sit idly by. This kid is too arrogant. He doesn't pay attention to us at all, and if he continues to stay in our legion, we don't know what will happen. I think it's better to get rid of them as soon as possible. Kuang Lion, the head of the 1st Black Iron Legion, wearing a red armor, took the lead and couldn't help shouting. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1612. It's not a bad thing to have a hot temper, but if you are a little more brainless, it will look a little stupid. Idiot. Didn't you hear? That guy even mentioned Lord Dongguo. If he really has anything to do with Saint Dongguo, once he dies here, we will definitely die. Besides, those minorities he brought, are not easy to provoke. Among the troops under his command, there are almost 50,000 elite troops in the Emperor's realm. Wenquan, the head of the 308 Bronze Legion, frowned, feeling a bit difficult at the moment. A powerful inspector came, and he was also very helpless. Maybe he had to change his name and surname on his 1/3 of an acre of land. Master Legion, how could we behead that guy? It was obviously beheaded by the devil of the dark camp. It has nothing to do with us. We can pretend a little bit. Xianan, the inspector of the 1st Black Iron Legion under the 308 Bronze Legion, suddenly laughed sinisterly, the wrinkles on his face also fluttered, and his expression became more and more strange. Camouflage. Inspector Xianan. What do you want to do? Humph. I have no right to pretend I didn't hear what happened today. What happened has nothing to do with me. Think about it yourself. I have a headache these days, and I need to rest for a few days. Wenquan, head of the 308 Bronze Legion, rolled his eyes, and then shouted righteously. It sounds upright and awe-inspiring, but in fact it is clearly a game of throwing the pot away. 308 Xianan, the inspector of the 1st Black Iron Legion of the Bronze Legion, couldn't help curling his lips, and secretly said an old fox. This foxtail almost showed itself, this dog's appearance is simply not too shameless. If Fang Fan, the uninvited guest, were really eliminated, the head of the Hot Spring Bronze Legion would be able to sit back and enjoy the benefits. If there is a disaster, it can be wiped out. Shameless especially. Xianan cursed a few words in his heart, and naturally felt extremely upset, but people should bow their heads under the eaves, this is the main premise. Keeping a low profile, is the only rule of survival. My lord, I have found out the basic situation. Xingyu Island is at the very edge of the heavenly sanctuary, about half a day's journey away from Xingyu, there is a demon heart city, and there is a branch of the Dark Temple in the city. Powerful. Within a day's journey from the left wing and the right wing, there is a stronghold of the Dark Camp, each of which is stationed in the Dark Camp, a Bronze Legion with 1,000,000 troops. As for the so-called large-scale siege of Xingyu Island and the heavy damage to the 308th Bronze Legion, that was all false, and it was nonsense. It is said that only 2 Bronze Legions from the Dark Camp came here to sweep up a wave. There was a small-scale conflict, and the casualties of the 308th Bronze Legion will not exceed 100,000. There are some casualties, but they are definitely not as miserable as they reported. 500,000 people died in battle, and they really dare to report it. Galen said it in an all-round and three-dimensional way, and Fang Fan probably understood the meaning, that is, the 308 Bronze Legion is deceiving the upper and lower. This method seems a bit despicable. But since they dare to do this, it means that there must be someone covering them. As for their purpose of doing this, that is relatively simple. Huge casualties corresponded to being able to commend one's outstanding military exploits and get more pensions. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1613. Originally, I thought that the 308th Bronze Legion was a severely damaged legion. It looks like, he gave me a big gift. An almost full-staffed bronze rank army in the field, can be put to great use. Fang Fan looked at the map drawn by Galen in front of him. On the map, many things are clear at a glance. On the left and right sides of Xingyu Island, there is a bronze-ranked legion from the Dark Camp stationed. Going to the strongholds of these 2 dark camps can be reached in one day, which is very close to a certain extent. In addition, the Demon Heart City in the middle, is only half a day away. If the action is fast enough, plus the battle time, 1 day's time to go back and forth is enough. There is also a branch hall of the Dark Temple in Demon Heart City. If this branch hall is taken down, the accumulated battle honors may be enough for me to be promoted to a 4th rank Archbishop. Even if you destroy a branch of the Dark Temple, the contribution point rewards you can get must be quite a lot. Fang Fan squinted his eyes, thinking to himself, the corners of his mouth also raised up. Thinking like this, the idea gradually took off. My lord, what do you mean, you want to attack the branch of the Dark Temple in Demon Heart City? My lord, don't be so impulsive. In a branch of the Dark Temple like this, there will be at least 1/3 rank red-robed Dark Envoy stationed in the Dark Formation, or even a 2nd rank Cardinal Dark Envoy. Coupled with the elite army of the Dark Temple, even a silver-level army is difficult to capture. And once the battle situation falls into a critical state, the various legions of the Dark Camp will definitely choose to besiege. At that time, it will be even more uncontrollable. My lord, think twice. Hao Yun wiped the cold sweat from his forehead. While talking, his whole body was drenched. Fang Fan's casual words directly stunned him. Fang Fan's idea is too radical. Let him feel panic from the bottom of his heart. Fang Fan squinted his eyes and glanced at Hao Yun, but he didn't expect this guy to have some insights. Although it is just some common and ordinary strategic ideas, it is not unusual to be able to analyze them so clearly. Don't worry, I won't be impulsive without a suitable opportunity. Fang Fan narrowed his eyes and said indifferently. Naturally, he wouldn't do such a tough thing. Waiting silently, you can always find an opportunity to burst into the sky. He needs a big battle right now. A 5th rank bishop is promoted to a 4th rank bishop. This road is not smooth. By the way, the meeting over there is over. Fang Fan squinted his eyes, glanced at the distance, and said meaningfully, what he was referring to was naturally the plan of those people from the 308th Bronze Legion. Well, with his back to his solo plan. It has ended. According to the spy's report, it seems that the meeting was not very harmonious, and there were some quarrels. The Bronze Legion commander Hot Spring seems to have lost his temper. It seems that it's because those people said something unfavorable to you, and then annoyed him. My lord, if you look at it this way, the head of the Bronze Legion of Hot Springs seems to be able to get along with you. When we met before, he was also very friendly. Hao Yun nodded his head and said deeply. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1614. Cut, why don't you get on the road, kid? This is obviously what lured you into the bait. The head of the Hot Spring Bronze Legion knew it was not a good thing at a glance, so don't blow him up. Bai Biao stretched his waist and walked over. This guy is still very accurate in seeing people, most likely because he has been beaten a lot, so he has a better insight into people's hearts. Bai Biao is right, this Hot Spring, it's quite a smiling tiger. It looks amiable, but everything makes the people under him rush ahead. If he really wanted to defend me, he wouldn't be able to let me go like this. 308 Bronze Legion, more and more interesting. Fang Fan narrowed his eyes, the corners of his mouth raised silently, and the smiles on his face grew more and more. No matter how cunning the prey is, it will be caught by the shrewd hunter after all. During these days on Xingyu Island, everything seemed relatively peaceful. In a blink of an eye, it has been guarding here for 2 months. Ever since Fang Fan beheaded hundreds of soldiers of the 308th Bronze Legion Li Wei in public 2 months ago, no one came here to die on purpose. The Human Emperor Legion, War Slave Legion, Sky Fox Clan and 308 Bronze Legion under his command got along fairly well. Now Fang Fan is mainly responsible for guarding the eastern part of Xingyu Island and setting up his own battalion, which seems relaxed. My lord, there is an army of millions over there outflanking. The attack was launched from the northeast direction of Xingyu Island. It should be the army of the Dark faction stationed on the left side of Xingyu Island 1 day's journey away. This is a full bronze rank legion, and this time it's almost all out. Galen galloped over from a distance with an excited look on his face. In the face of a strong enemy, there is no fear, but excitement. This is the attitude that an elite army should have. My lord, this is a big piece of fat. Combined with our strength and the strength of the 308th Bronze Legion on the island, we will definitely be able to take down this invading army of the Dark Camp in one fell swoop. Galen rubbed his hands together and continued. Fang Fan lowered his head, shaking the cup in his hand. His eyes were fixed. What do you think will be the reaction to inviting the troops of the 308th Bronze Legion now? Fang Fan narrowed his eyes and suddenly smiled indifferently. Naturally, we should unite as one and kill the army of the Dark Camp. This is a great honor. Galen replied as a matter of course. Fang Fan chuckled, then silently shook his head. You think it's too simple? If only it were that simple. Fang Fan suddenly narrowed his eyes, and there were streaks of light in them. Don't you think the timing of the Bronze Legion from the Dark Camp is weird? Fang Fan continued to shake the cup in his hand, letting the water droplets in the cup splash out, and his eyes became condensed for a while. Some things will become clear after a little feeling. When their own thoughts explode in their minds, this kind of idea will become more real. My lord, what do you mean? Galen's eyes widened suddenly, as if he understood something. This enemy was provoked by members of the 308th Bronze Legion. They don't dare to move us easily, but if the army of the Dark Camp kills us, then they will have no responsibility at all. So it is almost impossible to ask them to send troops now. Outside the military tent, Tianhu strode in. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1615. Fang Fan raised his head and glanced at Tianhu, then nodded secretly. He didn't expect that this woman's talent in military affairs was not bad, and she could even be said to be very talented. It is really not easy to deduce the truth from some subtle phenomena. Then we choose to withdraw our troops, join forces with them, and set up the general camp in the center of Xingyu Island, so they can't even guard Xingyu Island, right? Galen went on to come up with entirely new conjectures. Perhaps they expect us to go. In this way, we can be driven out of Xingyu Island by running away. After all, we are still the thorn in the flesh of others. They want to rely on the legions of these dark camps to kill us, so they underestimate the legions under my command. Fang Fan snorted coldly, his eyes showed endless confidence, and he still had to show his proper posture. Confidence comes from the heart. My lord, then why don't we notify the 308th Bronze Legion to dispatch troops? Anyway, we can handle it ourselves. Galen groaned and continued. No. The notification still needs to be notified. Not only to notify, but also to notify with great fanfare. They want to rely on these dark camps to destroy me. Why don't I find opportunities to annex them? This is a great opportunity. As long as this battle is won, the initiative will be in our hands. Holy Maiden of the Sky Fox, I will leave this matter to your Sky Fox clan. Let your Sky Fox clan draw out 100,000 true King Realm clansmen, and then spread the message of help throughout the island. Make sure that every member of the 308th Bronze Legion a person can know the news. This is a key step in the plan. While Fang Fan was talking, golden lights flickered in his eyes, and such thoughts were churning in his mind, gradually becoming real. Thinking is breaking through in an all-round way. Tianhu nodded secretly, a smile appeared on her face, and she understood instantly. Galen stood on the spot, blinking, and the surprised look on his face became more and more serious. At this moment, still can't understand, not only can't understand, but he looks even more confused, with all kinds of thoughts in a mess. Galen, summon the Emperor's Legion and the Slaves' Legion, prepare to fight. Convene 10 personal legions and other heroes. Call everyone who can use it. The war has begun. Fang Fan snorted secretly, his eyes filled with fighting spirit. Every battle is an excavation of a golden mountain. Every enemy is carrying golden sand, beheading them. What Fang Fan gets are cards and star cores. Fang Fan never hated war, on the contrary, he would prefer this feeling. That feeling of urgency to take off. Human Sovereign Legion, War Slave Legion, Skyfox Legion temporarily formed by the Skyfox clan. The total strength has exceeded 1 million. Of course, most of them are true king-level soldiers of the Tianhu Legion, and there are nearly 1 million of them. The real elite soldiers of the Emperor's realm add up to about 50,000. And the opponent is a full-staffed bronze rank legion of the Dark Temple. Nearly 1 million scale. All of them are in the Emperor's realm. The gap has always existed, all we need to do is to eliminate the gap. Take off in the counter-attack. The initial battle is confrontation. In terms of military strength, they are almost the same, they are neatly arranged and ready to go. Fang Fan's eyes glanced over, and all the small flying battleships of the other party were displayed in the front. After a rough count, there were 11 ships in total. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1616. According to the establishment of the Bronze Legion under the Temple, each Black Iron Legion can have a small 1-star Sanctuary-level flying warship, and a Bronze-level Legion can use a 3-star Sanctuary-level small flying warship. So although the flying battleships in front of me are all small, the difference in strength is a bit big, especially the small flying battleship of the 3-star Sanctuary, which is really a bit greedy. Its reminder is almost double the size of an ordinary small flying battleship, and there are densely packed Shenjing cannons and Star Core cannons around it. Once it fully explodes, as long as there are enough Shenjing and Star Cores, it can always display the combat power of the 3-star Sanctuary. And on a large-scale battlefield, the group damage of this small flying battleship that can exert the combat power of the 3-star Sanctuary is stronger. Once the war breaks out, it will be endless. Don't destroy this small flying warship of the 3-star Sanctuary realm. Fang Fan licked his lips with a greedy look on his face. He only has 3 small flying battleships in his hand now, and all of them are 1-star Sanctuary level. Relatively speaking, the cards are not enough. A middle-aged man in golden armor suddenly walked out of the 3-star Sanctuary class small flying battleship in the distance. Damn it! I was cheated. Just a 5th rank bishop, labor and capital need to travel thousands of miles to attack and kill. The head of a 5th rank bishop is so worthless. Let's go back and give the labor and management a good warning over there. Next time they make such unreliable news, the labor and management will beat him to death. Don't blame the labor and management for taking them all. The middle-aged man in golden armor was swearing, and he didn't hide his voice at all. At this time, the generals in the surrounding area were all fawning over the middle-aged man in golden armor, calling out to the army commander from time to time. Fang Fan saw it in his eyes, and there were flashes of light in his eyes. Everything is clear. This middle-aged man in golden armor should be the head of the Bronze Rank Legion of the Dark Temple. And what he said also revealed some news. It should be that someone leaked some information to him before this, so this guy ran over with the whole army. He thought that there should be a big fish waiting for him, but he found out after coming here, all this is my own wishful thinking. A fifth-rank bishop of the Temple of the Alliance of Light can only be compared to the general head of the Black Iron Legion to a certain extent. Although it is not bad, but such a mobilization of teachers, such a harvest, so this middle-aged man in golden armor seems a little unhappy. The greater the expectation, the greater the disappointment. It seems that my prediction was correct. Someone is really behind the scenes. 308 Bronze Legion, interesting. In order to remove this thorn in my side, they don't hesitate to cooperate with the Dark Camp. And it doesn't sound like this is the first collaboration like this. Could it be that they were already cooperating when they pretended to suffer heavy losses last time? Fang Fan secretly squinted his eyes, and gradually started a brainstorm. These thoughts exploded wildly in his mind, and gradually formed the appearance it should have. 308 Bronze Legion, the water here is quite muddy. Well, but this level of turbidity is just right for fishing in troubled waters. The corners of Fang Fan's mouth rose slightly, and the smiles on his face became more involuntary. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1617. Boy. Surrender. Take all your people to surrender, so that I can get a little more credit for capturing a living fifth-rank bishop. At that time, if you change your beliefs, you might become a servant of my dark temple. The man in the golden armor yelled, and his face gradually revealed a proud expression. From his point of view, this was a battle without any suspense. Maybe he didn't think that he might encounter failure at all. You take your people to surrender, I don't need you to change your faith, I give you the rights and qualifications of war slaves. How about it? This is a very good opportunity, maybe you won't even have such an opportunity later. Fang Fan has never lost before. Before the battle, this kind of momentum must be displayed. Bastard. Suicide. Since you want to kill yourself, don't blame us. Hee, then let's see how it tore you all apart. First Black Iron Legion, charge me. Don't let anyone go. The middle-aged man in golden armor gave an order, and then one of the small flying battleships in the one-star sanctuary realm started to move. At the same time, about 100,000 soldiers of the enemy army broke away from the battle order and rushed directly towards this direction. All of them are soldiers from the Imperial realm. Using a small one-star sanctuary-level flying warship and dozens of quasi-sacred-level large flying warships as front shields, they directly attacked and killed them. Immediately afterwards, there was a series of violent cannon sounds, and those flying warships began to fire. Bales. Lead the fire support of the low heavy machine artillery corps. I want you to kill them all at once. First battle, teach them a lesson. All these warships will be reimbursed to me. Fang Fan narrowed his eyes coldly. This is the opening battle, which is extremely critical to a certain extent, and there should be no surprises. In addition to fighting to win, it is also necessary to show momentum and scale. Only when such an idea is implemented, everything becomes more real. Fang Fan thought to himself, his eyes became more and more calm. Obey my lord. Bales, the leader of the low heavy machine artillery corps, strode forward with a solemn look on his face, and then rushed directly towards him with the heavy machine guns on his shoulders. The low heavy machine artillery corps plus the leader Bales, there are 12 people in total. My lord, just let 12 of them go up, isn't there something missing? Or send my small flying battleship there too. Hao Yun took a deep breath, and then leaned forward anxiously. In his opinion, a dozen people fighting against 100,000 people, this is obviously a dead end. Not to mention anything else, just the small flying battleship in the one-star sanctuary realm is not so easy to deal with. No. Let's take a look first. Wait and see. Maybe there will be some other changes. Fang Fan narrowed his eyes, the corners of his mouth raised silently, and the smiles on his face gradually increased, and the feeling in his heart became more and more real at this moment. 12 heavy machine gunners rushed over directly, and their speed was getting faster and faster. With the sound of a roaring shell, the heavy machine guns in their hands also began to shoot out fireworks. Although these heavy machine guns are only 20 centimeters in caliber, there is a big gap between the heavy guns on those flying battleships, which are hundreds of centimeters at every turn, but they can't hide their huge power at all. Divine system of the strongest card supplier in the end times, Doomsday strongest card supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1618. A 20 centimeters caliber bombardment can almost cover the surrounding enemies in a radius of 10 meters, causing them all to be destroyed. Doesn't look like much power, but enough shells. Bang bang bang. Bang 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 bang. These shells are fired every second, or even twice a second. In 1 minute, a regular heavy machine gun can fire dozens or even hundreds of shells. The soldiers of the dark camp in the front row were instantly stunned, and they couldn't help falling into a state of panic at the moment. They were horrified, fearful, and even retreated. Asshole! Go! Come on! Retreaters! Kill them all! Are your flying warships and the giant cannons on the flying warships just decorations? Bomb me! Carpet bomb me! I don't believe it! These people won't die. In the crowd, bursting roars were heard, and the middle-aged leader of the army in the dark camp who was wearing golden armor suddenly jumped into a rage. It was played in the first battle. Feel a little bit, you can feel a strong sense of shame. At this moment, this sense of shame is gradually escalating. In his view, this is a kind of provocation and humiliation to them. This feeling became more and more intense. Rumbling. Huge large flying warships and small flying warships are pouring artillery fire. In the case of concentrated fire attack, thousands of shells are basically gathered in an instant. The target they aimed at was the 12 heavy machine artillerymen of the Low Heavy Machine Artillery Corps. But under their watchful eyes, those roaring shells passed by these heavy machine artillery again and again, almost hitting each time, but in the end they just missed. And at this time, these heavy machine gunners who are as vigorous as eagles will grin their teeth and carry the heavy machine guns, and start to emit the roar of fate. The battle scenes became more and more terrifying. Boom! Bang bang bang! Suddenly, a large flying warship in the army of the dark camp blew itself up. The self-destruction of this large flying warship triggered the self-detonation of another large flying warship, and in an instant, a sea of flames formed. The practitioners of the dark camp in the battleship suffered countless casualties. Just now, Bales, the leader of the Low Heavy Machine Artillery Corps, shot himself, and a shell bombarded the energy bank of the large flying warship, triggering the big explosion. The Big Bang continues. The sound of explosions is endless, and everything has not changed, and it seems to be still acting as it should be. This bombing completely messed up the Black Iron Legion of the dark camp. Each of them dodged the artillery fire, helped in the rescue, and worried that their warships would not become the next bombardment target. A fully formed Black Iron Legion, 100,000 people. 10 large quasi-holy class flying warships and a small 1-star sanctuary-level flying warship served as fire support, and at this moment, what did they look like? Waste. It's all trash. The head of the first Black Iron Legion. If you can't take these people down, I'll shoot you right now. Du Hang, the head of the Bronze Rank Legion of the Dark Camp, that is, the middle-aged man in the golden armor, made roaring sounds at this moment, and the roaring sounds were endless. Boom. Boom boom boom. Another wave of violent bombing sounded, and in front of Du Hang, the head of the Bronze Rank Legion of the Dark Faction, the small flying warship of the 1-star Sanctuary Realm also flew, it exploded. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1619. The audience fell into the peak state of the atmosphere. The Dark Camp is the first Black Iron Legion under the Bronze Rank Legion. Now the car of the head of the Black Iron Level Legion, that is, the small flying warship of the one-star Sanctuary Realm, has been blown up, and the life and death of the head of the Black Iron Level Legion is uncertain. This is a victory. 12 laws. The heavy machine artillery of the Heavy Machine Artillery Corps defeated a full-stacked Black Iron Legion. The corner of Fang Fan's mouth was slightly raised, and a smile appeared on his face. The low Heavy Machine Artillery Corps is now a low-level quasi-sage, and it was promoted from the previous 10-star Emperor-level low Heavy Machine Gun Corps. At that time, I felt that such a law was of great significance to the Heavy Machine Artillery Corps. And now it looks like this is indeed the case. From a comprehensive point of view, the combat power is vigorous. The power is unmatched for a moment. Specially select enemy flying warships and energy banks of flying warships for bombardment, resulting in the effect of serial bombing. Generally speaking, the weakest and most dangerous place of a flying warship or a flying warship is the energy bank, so it is usually placed where other warships and warships cannot be covered by artillery fire. Therefore, during the bombardment battle, the energy pool is generally difficult to be bombarded by hostile warships and warships. But the heavy machine artillery of the low Heavy Machine Artillery Legion is different. They are separate individuals. They don't have the clumsy bodies like flying warships, and their firepower is extremely fast, which can cause continuous shooting. They can go deep into the key parts of the enemy's warships, and then directly bombard the energy storage, causing devastating damage. It's so shocking. This is true. Hall Master, these legions under your command are so strong. 12 people picked a Black Iron Level Legion from the Dark Camp. Phew, tell it, who would believe it? Even if I saw it with my own eyes, I was shocked again and again. Hao Yun's lips trembled, and he couldn't restrain himself for a long time at the moment. While talking, his eyes became more and more sincere and excited. At this moment, Hao Yun inexplicably felt that he was really lucky. Desperately joined Fang Fan's command, became a pawn under Fang Fan's command, successfully joined this camp, and successfully approached this potential stock. In the future, he will definitely be delighted by today's decision. This is the most correct decision he has ever made in his life. Hall Master Fang Fan really likes to create miracles as always. Such classic battles may become model battles in textbooks. Tianhumeyer squinted her beautiful eyes, and deliberately approached Fang Fan, involuntarily wanting to collide with Fang Fan. Fang Fan frowned, and couldn't help but glance aside. What's wrong with this woman? Every day, just figure out his body. Despicable. Shameless. Fang Fan complained secretly in his heart, but his face was still calm and breezy. The basic operation. Fang Fan said it rather humbly, but he looked at Fa Ziyi's Heavy Machine Artillery Corps with brilliant eyes. The low Heavy Machine Artillery Corps still needs to continue to be promoted and become stronger. They are the nightmare of those lumbering, heavy-armed flying warships and flying warships. Now it is possible to bomb the energy bank of a one-star Sanctuary-class small flying warship, but in the future, it might not be possible to bomb a stronger 3-star Sanctuary-class small flying warship, or a higher-end medium-sized large flying warship. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1620. The first wave of battles can be described as complete victory, and the overall battle situation is in an explosive state. My lord, fortunately I did not disgrace my life. Bales, the commander of the low Heavy Machine Artillery Corps, galloped back with 11 other heavy machine artillery, with a solemn look on his face. Fang Fan nodded secretly, and the smile on his face became more inexplicably. This is the invincible army under his command. Fighting to the end with an invincible momentum. Such willpower is gathering momentum. Very good. Go down and rest for a while. Fang Fan nodded and said with a smile. Master, we can continue to fight. We don't need a break. Bayless knelt down on one knee, with a tough look on his face. For him, fighting makes him even more exciting. This kind of willpower is very real to some extent. Don't worry, there will be more battles waiting for you. But the premise is that you have to rest well. Gather your energy for the next battle. Fang Fan squinted his eyes and watched from a distance. The army of the Dark Camp, which had suffered a sudden defeat, was gradually gathering at this moment. What the low heavy machine gun corps destroyed just now was nothing but a Black Iron Legion under the Bronze Rank Legion of this dark faction. There are 9 such legions on the opposite side. The fiercer battle has just begun. Xingyu Island, 308th Bronze Legion, Central Military Tent. You mean, a Black Iron level army from the Dark Camp was defeated by more than a dozen people under Fang Fan's command. This is impossible. A Black Iron level legion, full of 100,000 soldiers, and at least one small 1-star Sanctuary class flying warship and 10 quasi-holy class large flying warships. This is impossible. Unless the dozen or so people under his command are all Saint Realm. Are you lying about military information? In the Camp of Light, the head of the 1st Black Iron level legion under the 308th Bronze Legion of the Azure Dragon Legion roared furiously, and the murderous intent in his eyes was gradually gathering. As he spoke, his high-pitched voice was about to break through the sky. Captain of the Wild Lion Black Iron Army, I didn't lie about the military situation, everything is true. It's true, it's true. I saw with my own eyes that a soldier under Fang Fan's supervisor carried a cannon and launched a bombardment directly at a 1-star Sanctuary-class small flying battleship of the Dark Camp. After hitting the energy bank of this small flying warship, a huge explosion occurred, and the soldiers and officers of the Dark Camp in the entire small flying warship basically died on the spot. Their fighting power is very strong, very strong. But the preliminary prediction of the level is only the quasi-sacred realm. The messenger answered the relevant questions meticulously. Facing the aggressive question of the Wild Lion, there was a sense of panic on his face, but soon, this sense of panic gradually disappeared. You are lying. Tell me. Are you the spy sent by Fang Fan? Tell me. Tell me. 308 Bronze Legion's 1st Black Iron Legion Commander Guangxi yelled frantically. Crazy lion. Calm down. Wenquan, the head of the 308 Bronze Legion on the high seat, frowned and gave a cold drink, and stopped the Wild Lion's frantic movements, looking extremely dissatisfied. Okay, you go down first. Hot Spring waved his hand and ordered the messenger to leave. Some things can only be discussed behind closed doors.